If you're working on your dream, there will be times when you want to give up. There will come a time when people will not respond to your call, to your messages. There will be a time that you will be rejected by your own closest friends, by your own shadow. There will be a time that you will be ostracized by your own society. For sure, there will be times when life will knock you down and catch you on the blind side. And if you hold on, I say this to you, my friends, the universe will be on your side. No matter whatever happens in life, keep going. Quitting is not an option. Quitting is permanent. Setbacks and disappointments are not. They should serve to challenge and motivate you to strive even harder. You might think the battle is too big for you. You are overwhelmed by the stresses of life. But remember, it's nothing to the Lord of the universe. Nothing is impossible for Him. Hand it over to Him. See how things unfold. He will take care of all that we cannot. Have faith in Him. You have to struggle, because in your deepest struggle lies your greatest strength. So don't fear. Everything you have ever wanted is on the other side of the fear. When failure strikes you, my friends, make Allah your top priority. You will find yourself on the top priority list of Allah.
When I was a kid, all I wanted to be was on TV. You know, I don't want nothing else. You know, I got hit over the head with that. You know, you can't come from my school in 1968 and make the statement that you want to be on TV. The teacher clearly said, "Do you know anybody on TV?" No. Have you ever Have you ever been on TV? No. Anybody in the school? No. And she was destroying my dream. But my father told me to just keep the faith, keep believing in that. A lot of missteps, man. Flunking out of college, you know, getting fired from some pretty cool jobs, and then, you know, becoming homeless, you know, breaking off into stand-up at 27, becoming homeless for 3 years, you know, living in a car, driving up down the road, you know, trying to make it, all with this notion that one day I was going to have the Steve Harvey show. It was a notion, it's just, you know, and I just couldn't understand why I couldn't. And so I just kept the faith about it, man. And I attribute that to a lot of faith. My mother was a praying person. I believe in that wholeheartedly. That has a tremendous part to do with your success. It's in relation to your relationship with God. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but hey, what you ask me, I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. I can't be ashamed of that because you ain't really feeling it. Well, that's you. I happen to believe that. And so I think through all of those prayers and stuff, I got through the cracks and crevices, man. And then I looked up and I was 39 years old and I was on TV. But it took 39 years to get there. And it was a lot of years when it didn't look like it was going to happen, but it did. And I'm here now. And now this is a daytime show that bears that thing, the Steve Harvey Show. I mean, you can't tell me it doesn't work because I'm living proof. Look at this stuff. This is for me. That's crazy. If you don't see the blessing in that and the miracle at the same time, because the odds of you really getting here, very, very slim. So I have to believe that prayer had a big part.
You are the sum total of all of the choices that you've made up until now. And anything about yourself or your life that you don't like or isn't working or is immobilizing you is to be looked at in terms of, can I grow? Rather than, why did I do it, or isn't this wrong? See, the two ways to motivate yourself are deficiency motivation, which says, where I am I don't like. I don't like what I've done. I don't like the fact that I can't do this well or I can't do that well. So I will list these things in my own repertoire, and then I will be constantly trying to repair those deficiencies, always assuming that I'm deficient, that there's something wrong with me, and I'm trying to fix it. And when you do that, you spend your whole life doing that. And you never arrive, because your life becomes a series of trying to get someplace else. And it is, if you follow that, if you live that, if you behave that, then what happens to you is you become a person who will always suffer from this disease called more. You always have to have more. Because whenever you are getting where you want to go, let's say you want $100,000 in the bank, and you work, and you struggle, and you deny yourself, and you do all of those things, and you finally you get there, and here you are, you got $100,000 in the bank. All of this stuff over here has cost your life, and that is all you know. That's what you know how to, that's how you are. That is your being, that is your way of being. So that when you do get here, what you will do is say, this is not enough.
Telling someone, and they asked me, would you repeat that again? I was interested in going into broadcasting. I'm adopted, and that was my key out. I wanted to make my mama proud of me. I was very much appreciative of what she's done for my brother and sister and I, and that was my way out. And I went over to a radio station, asked a guy and told him that I was interested in broadcasting. He looked at me in my straw hat and my overalls. He said, you have any broadcasting background? I said, no, sir, I don't. What do you do? I cut grass. Young ladies asked me what kind of work I do, and I was working on a garbage truck. I say, well, I'm a sanitary technician. He said, we don't have any job for you. I decided that was something I was going to do. I decided I'm unstoppable. I'm going to go up and hit. I'm going to do this. I started going to the radio station every day, developing a relationship with the people that were doing what I wanted to do. And that's what I encourage you to do. Whatever area you want to go in, find people that are doing it the way you want to do it and develop a relationship with them. When I decided to go in this area, I wrote letters to Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, to Zig Ziglar, to Dennis Waitley, all of the giants in this area. And I said, this is something I want to do. I've been following your career. Would you help me? Dr. Norman Vincent Peale answered my letter, did an article on me, wrote about me in the most recent book that he issued, and done many broadcasts about me. I'd wanted to develop a relationship and rapport with those people that were achieving those things that I wanted to achieve. By the same token, I would go to the radio station, and I developed a relationship with the guys. And they used me as an errand boy when they needed some food or someone to go pick up entertainers that came into town. Temptation singing My Girl, Jerry Butler singing For Your Precious Love, Sam Cooke singing Darling You Send Me. I would pick up the entertainers at the airport and driving around in the disc jockeys, big Cadillacs. They didn't have any driver's license, but I was acting like I had some. Every day I used to go home and work on my communication skills, developing myself. It was Whitney Young. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Start working and developing yourself now and prepare yourself for what it is that you want, because you expect to get it. And when the disc jockeys were in the control room, I would go in and watch them and develop a trust level, and they would let me stay, and I would watch and observe them working the controls. When you want something out of life, don't worry about how you're going to get it. How is none of your business. The most difficult thing it is to hold the vision. It's to hold the vision. So there I was at the radio station. A guy was on the air and he started to drink by the name of Rock. I was outside the window looking at him and watching. Hungry and ready. Saying, drink, rock, drink. Pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager. I said, hello? He said, Les, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. He's slurring his words. I said, I know. Can you work the controls until one of the other disc jockeys come in? Would you call them? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must be thinking I'm crazy. I called my mama and my girlfriend Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn up the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited about 15 minutes. I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, well, why don't you go in there and work the controls until they get there? And don't say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to sit down at that turntable, Mustafa. I said, look out, this is me, LB, Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing Papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, and indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry.